Good afternoon. So, this is my video talk on the Teachers Know Best article or report from the Gates Foundation. My points of major significance, which is pretty much how I like to do things, just allow me to sum up what I've read and what I'm understanding things or how I'm understanding things to be. So, I think the guiding questions, uh, that the professor has provided were in regard to leadership opportunities. What does this mean in my K through 12 setting? How can I take a leadership role and what I would like to implement? And what culture would I need to build for this data or use of data and data analysis to become successful? So I want to start here. The information in the Teachers Know Best article or report confirms that my efforts on campus could lead to change in how we use data. Some of my points of major significance would be data provides, or the way we use data, analyze data, um, it provides an opportunity for teachers to create a culturally responsive opportunity in learning, meaning that the data that we garner from everyday usage with students would allow us to individualize their learning experiences. And in that, we can speak specifically to their cultures, their cultures, not specifically maybe countries that they're from, but just the way they do things at home. That is a culture. Um, I use culture to mean, I guess, um, anything that involves how a student is raised, brought up. Um, I guess, okay. And then 6 key approaches to data access and usage should be placed in a collaborative learning community to improve upon each of the approaches to build capacity. So the 6 key approaches to data access, if you took all of those types of data users, the data maven, the growth scholar, the aspirational, the scorekeeper, perceptives, and the traditional, if you took all of those types and placed them in a cohort or a collaborative and allowed them to learn from each other um, in how they use data their way and grow from that opportunity, you would be building the capacity of each one of these data approaches. And hopefully by the end of the year, your data mavens would probably be traditionals or understand traditionals, and there wouldn't be so much angst within meetings or between colleagues, or you wouldn't have one type of approach leaning on another approach so much once they learn from the other approaches. So I see it as a learning opportunity. The key challenges of data and its usage for teachers also involve the need for data disaggregation courses to be mandatory. So it's my belief, I don't know if they're doing it different now, but when I got my teaching degree, we didn't have any classes that allowed us to learn how to look at data, which data to use, how to analyze data. And I think that that's important for new teachers who want to come into this game and be productive members and be able to hold their own. As soon as they get into their career, they definitely need to understand how important and valuable data is. So having that as a mandatory class, uh, data and data usage 101 is important. Teachers need opportunity for students to get down and analyze data so that this information can be internalized and become real to them by making a connection to what this data actually means. So in that I mean, students should also have to take part in analyzing their data. Learning why this data is important and not just seeing it is the key. When I teach, I want my students to understand what that standard is, why they have to meet the standard or surpass the standard. So if I give them all the information in understanding what a standard is, they they're more able to do their best at attempting to meet the standard or surpass it. And the same thing goes for data. Um, if you have a data analysis conference or small group with your students weekly on their data, they are more apt to make the information better weekly. So leadership opportunities. I see leadership opportunities here. Um, Someone might be able to create a collaborative on the campus, and take surveys from teachers on the campus to find out what data is being used, who doesn't know how to use it, all different types of questions, surveying that information to know where you are, and those people in that collaborative or that cohort would be able to make changes based upon these surveys to really what is needed for data. What does this mean in my K through 12 setting? I teach middle school, eighth grade reading. Um, I think it means that you really have to know how everybody on your campus is using data and what's so important to them, to their use of the data. Why is it important for them? And you have to come to a common ground of the use of this data on your school campus. How can I take a leadership role, or what would I implement? As I said before, I would implement a cohort or a collaboration of people who want to be leaders or people who are on the leadership path, even those who are not, who just want to get better at doing something in relation to data. I would take it, I would make a group, take a leadership role, and I would go about creating these surveys, do Google Docs or Google surveys, and making this a real initiative, and tracking that data from the initiative to see where we really, what type of impact we're making. What culture would I need to build for this to be successful? I think you have to build a single school culture. Everyone has to be interested in the results and how these results can make change. I know I'm over, I'm sorry.